Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today we are continuing our series on Power BI alternatives. And this time we are taking a look at Apache Superset. Now, I would say, just to start off with, Apache Superset is what I would call a normal experience with open source software, in at least open source software that I've interacted with, right? I think that we've had, two open source interactions, that were unusual, right? Metabase, highly unusual in my opinion because it was dirt simple to get installed. It looked good, and it had some really cool features, and it was fast and all of that, right? And it was unusually good in my experience for open source software. BiRT was unusually bad, right? I mean, I spent hours and hours trying to get this thing to install and work and stuff, and it never even got it to work. So unusually good, unusually bad. Apache Superset is right middle of the road of my experience with open source, which is not to say, it's just basically saying it's bad. And I'll get into why here in a minute. So anyway, so we head over to, of course, they have this quick start, blah blah, use Docker Compose, and they don't have official support for Windows, which I'm running Windows. I don't really want to spin up a Linux VM or anything like that and try to get this thing working. So I wanted to use Docker. So you'd notice, I think a few videos ago, I installed Docker for Windows 11. Got it working after the reboot. And I think I ended that where it was asking me to reboot my machine. After that reboot, it came up and it worked, and I have Docker installed. So as you can see here, so here it is. Here's Docker Desktop. It works pretty well, I would say. And you can see I have the Apache Superset image. So how did I get that? So this is going to be a bit of a how to get this thing working, as well as here's what it does. So I just decided to, like, okay, well, I got this search for images. Let me do that. So I went ahead and searched for Superset, and the first one that came up was Apache Superset. So I went ahead and I pulled that, right? And so that's how I got this image down here, right here. It was very simple to do. Didn't even have to go through all this kind of shenanigans. But you know, and Docker, if you're not familiar with Docker and application virtualization, containerization, it's the same concept as virtual machines. Like, you can go run a virtual machine. Container basically has everything you needed to run an application. And so it's like a virtual machine for an application. That's not exactly correct, but it's good enough for your understanding. It's application virtualization. That's what containers and that stuff are. So in theory, this image right here has everything I need to run Superset. And the whole idea behind containers is that, hey, here's a container, and then it makes it super dirt simple to get that application up and running. But leave it to Apache Foundation to muck that up, right? Which they did. So I went ahead and ran the container, right? And the first thing that comes up in the container is when I'm running it, and it's running right now. Well, maybe I can spin up a new one and show you what happens. So let's go ahead and run. And one thing I did notice was that in this optional setting, like when I had it just set to the 8080, it didn't work for me. I went ahead and put in like a host port of like 8080, 8080 or 8081 or something like that. And then it seemed to work once I got it up and running. But I'm gonna do that right now, just for the time being. So you get it, it comes up and it gives you some pedantic cray, some random thing. And you can see here, it doesn't work, right? So what it's doing is it's saying it's refusing to work because it has a secret key, is the secret key that is the default one, and it wants you to generate your own secret key. So you have to be able to go in here and like click on this, and like you want the secret key to be your own random secret key. So they give you some instructions on how to do this basically, and this is the one you need right here. So what you do is, in my case, I opened up a command prompt window, right, and ran the OpenSSL ran -base 6442. I copy that key, right, and then they get into this whole thing about, so right out of the box, right, they're like, you know, we intentionally screw it up so you can't run this, easily. It's a dev environment, people, and their justification is, well, we want these things to be secure when they're running. It's like, dude, it's on my laptop, okay? I'm just trying to evaluate your crap software and see if it works or not. So anyway, so then they get into this whole thing about superset underscore config.py, right? And you're like, what? What is that? So you go searching around for it, and I'm actually going to copy that key off screen here, copied the key. So you're like, okay, what is that? So you go around searching for superset underscore config in the files, right? And it doesn't exist. That's the bottom line, is it doesn't exist. You have to create the thing. Or in my case, because I didn't feel like screwing around with all of that kind of stuff. And this is a reading through this documentation, configuring superset, and they have all this information about this superset config.py. I'm looking around for it, can't find it. Then finally realize, oh, you're supposed to create it somewhere. And then they like screw around with the path, and all of a sudden, like, here's the easy way to get this running. And this is not something you should probably do in production, but this is not production, so let me see here. It's under, I thought it was under app, and then superset. Go into superset. If you scroll down here, you'll find config.py, and you say, okay, open up in the file editor. All right, so then you have to scroll down, and what I actually did was I copied and pasted this in the notepad so I could actually search it, because there's no search functionality. But anyway, you go down here and search, and I'll find it eventually. That's the super secret key, right? So they have equals, and they have this blah and all this other stuff. So what you do is you select this, put in double quotes, you paste in your key, there you go, and you save. And then what that should do is now it's running. So now it's happy and it's running. And you think, okay, well, that's great. So now I should be able to go to 8082, right? Okay. That didn't work. Maybe it's not fully up yet. Now it should be fully up. Let's try it again. No, it does not like it. Well, anyway, what happens next is you actually get a login screen. You'll actually get a login screen. At least I got a login screen. I don't know why that's not working at the moment, but it doesn't really matter. In fact, I'm probably just going to shut that container down. Untype object has no attribute. Maybe it's running now. Nope. Okay, well, usually that would work. At least that worked in my case. I don't know what I did wrong. Maybe it's because I have the same secret key running on two different containers, and maybe it doesn't like that, or maybe it doesn't like the port that I used. I have no idea. But we'll just shut it down for now. We'll go back to the other one. Anyway, you get to a login screen, and in the configuring superset, right, or in the quick start, right, they say, oh, once you get it up and running, just log in with admin. Except that doesn't work. So you get to a login screen, and it's like, oh, well, that doesn't work. I try to log in, it's like that user doesn't exist. So some more Googling around on the internet, and I come across this restack. I don't know why these guys have like awesome Apache Superset documentation, because this doesn't seem to be what they do. They're doing something with AI and stuff like that. But anyway, they come in and say, oh, you need to run these commands: export flask app equals superset fab create admin, superset db upgrade, superset init. And so what you do is you go out to your Docker container, and this is the one, which one is it? Which one is my container that's running? It's this guy. So you go out here to exec, and then you execute those commands, right? So that's how you get it to work. So you just run these commands one right after the other. Export. I'll just leave this on the screen here for a second, so anybody that's interested in doing this can pause right here and get these settings. So you just go into your exec and you run those commands, and then you go back to the login screen, and then you can log in. So once you've done all of that, hopefully that saves some people some headaches. You can actually get and create dashboards that time out on you. So success, right? So, here's how you do this. Basically, you go to data sets, and they want you, was it somewhere along the lines? Now I've lost it. I created a database. So this wants me to create. So if I create a data set, yeah. So this is a database. Then where do I go back and create my? You may have to go back here. This is somewhere along the lines. It allowed me to create data. It allowed me to create a database because I tried creating a data set and it didn't let me create the data set without first creating a database. But now I can't seem to create a database again. But anyway, it did let me create a database at one point. Database connections, maybe? Here we go. There we go. So they hit it. So see headings, database connections. And this, so basically you have to create a database. Now, the database, right, are pretty limited. And I found this with a lot of the different tools I've been going through, is that they don't really have a lot of options, right? I mean, you've got like Apache Druid, Apache Hive, Apache, a lot of Apache stuff, Google BigQuery, MySQL, Postgres, Presto, Shillelagh. They have SQLite. They don't have SQL. Trino, other, like SQL Alchemy URI. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, they don't have a lot of options for connecting. And in my case, the only thing that really I could really use was Google Sheets, which is what I used for Astrato, right? I used this exact same Google Sheet that I used for Astrato to create this Google Sheets, right? And they basically have you paste in like a name for it and the URL, the public sharing URL. If you want to do authentication, it's kind of weird. It's like you have to put in some JSON stuff. It's all very strange. Anyway, so you create your database connection, then you create your data set from that, right? So here we go. Here is, I can create charts and stuff like that from this interface, and here's all my fields, right? And so you create charts, and then you can put those charts in a dashboard. Now, the whole key to all of this stuff is this is all dog slow. Creating the database, creating the data set, it's all incredibly slow when you do this. And in fact, at one time I clicked a button and there was no progress bar or anything else. And so I clicked the button like 12 more times to create the data set. And it finally created the data set. And then I got like 15 errors because it was trying to create the data set multiple times. But no progress bars or anything else. So this is a typical kind of dog water, open source software that I'm sort of, come to know and hate. So anyway, so we can actually create visuals, and they have the charts they have available. They have quite a few different charts, right? So here's all the different charts they have. In fact, more charts than default Power BI, right? They just in map visuals alone. I mean, look at all the map visuals they have. So they have a good array of data sets, data connections and things like that. Not so great. Number of chart types. There's a ton of them, right? So pie charts and partition charts. That's I can't think of the name of that right now. It's whatever. But anyway, they have a good number of chart types, right? Gauges, chord diagrams, everything, all your big numbers and KPIs and stuff like that, right? So big number with trend line. So this is pretty good, right? This isn't bad at all. Now the problem is that when I tried to, and they do have one map, you select it. This is the map that does latitude and longitude. I never could get this chart to render with the SQL. It always timed out. But we will hopefully do a bar chart, and then we will use the payment means as it asks us, do we want, what do we want? We want it to be sum, min, max, descent count, average. Obviously we want sum, save that, right? And then we create the chart. And we're going to have to let this run for about 40 seconds here for it to actually create this chart. And then once it's created the chart, it doesn't even seem to cache the data, because every time it seems to want to render the chart, it takes the same amount of time, almost 40 seconds. And if it took, basically 15, 20 seconds longer than that, it would time out and we would not be able to see anything. And it also seems that when you have it on it's not pulling like I had the same data coming from the same data, two charts. It's like it's doing it independently. That's it's not pulling it and then, hey, using that same thing for both charts. Okay, well, are we going to time out? I'd like to at least show you guys one chart that's successful. Uh-oh. Well, I don't know if we're going to make it. This is about as simple a chart as I can get. Nope. Nope. Timed out. Who uses this stuff? My God, people. All right, let's try give it one more try. We'll do a big number and some amount paid. Okay, we're gonna update the chart. It's not like it's using a ton of my CPU. I'm looking at my CPU and stuff like that. It's not like it's using a ton of CPU. Yeah, you can use more of the CPU than that, people. I don't know where it's getting hung up on. If it's going back to the data source and getting the data up to 38. And I did have this working. It would take like over 40 seconds to render a chart, but now it's taking even longer. So I don't know what the problem is, but it's pretty bad when you can't get a single chart to render. So I would have liked to show you the charts. The charts look okay. I tried to putting two of them on a single dashboard to try to see about. So this is what okay. So here's one that I built and it rendered. God forbid I refresh anything, because then it won't work. But it does, like, okay, it worked and that sort of thing. But I was trying to put two of them on the same dashboard, which was maybe it was this one. Now it was this one when I was looking at my dashboards, right? So you create charts, you put the charts in the dashboards. So you do this, and this is going to time out after 60 seconds. I was trying to determine, okay, is there interactivity between this chart and this chart? But I can't get the damn things to render, and I can't find out where to increase the timeout for the queries. And believe me, I've tried. I've gone through that entire file and looked for it. I can't find anything that has a timeout of 60 seconds. And what to change to try to get this. Okay, if maybe it's 2 minutes, it would actually work. But I was able to get a chart to render, one single chart, and at a time. But even that's not working. So apologize, I can't show that to you. But this is my typical experience with open source, right? It's just bad, right? It's not so bad that you can't get it running, but you get into it, and it's just not good, not a good experience. So I think things look pretty decent. It's just, if it would actually work, that would be great. So it boggles my mind how do these open source developers, expect anyone to use their product when you make it next to impossible to get the damn thing installed and configured, and then product is this much garbage that it doesn't work in any kind of speed or anything like that. So it's a mystery to me. I don't understand it, but here's my advice to the open source developers that are contributing to Superset and to BiRT. Stop that and go contribute to Metabase, because those guys actually have their act together, from what I can tell. So that is all I had in this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.